Hello, everybody. A quick programming note here. Just so everybody knows, I kept saying CIA. That's not correct. It's CTA-708. That's the current standard name. They've changed it a couple times. My apologies for getting confused. Enjoy the rest of the video, but just remember when I say CIA-708, I really mean CTA-708. All right, thanks. Enjoy the video. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Today, what I wanted to talk to you all about is closed captioning. I know, right? Who would want to talk about that? Well, I do. So today I wanted to talk to you all about that a little bit. So closed captioning, and if you don't know what closed captioning is, it's basically the opposite of open captions. So open captions are text that is permanently on the bottom of the screen, like say this at the bottom of the screen. It's encoded in the actual video feed. While closed captions is metadata either alongside of the video feed or it's in a sidecar file, etc. The point matter is that with closed captioning, it's closed because that it's off, and you could say turn it on if that you wanted to have closed captions, while everybody else watching the same program would be able to simply watch the visual content that doesn't have captions overlaid at all. Now, in the digital era of television, we have a standard called CIA-708, which used to be called CEA, and they've changed it a couple times, the name. But the point of the matter is that this standard was built so that way a digital television set, could go out and decode an over-the-air ATSC 1.0 digital, not audio, but television signal. And inside of that, you have the caption data, and that spec, again, is that CIA 708, etc. format, and that right there I find interesting. So there's a couple of really good features that support exists in that. The files that are used for sidecar purposes in this case is normally SCC files, from what I can tell. And so the SCC, so that's decimal or period, whatever you want to call it, and then the letters S and then 2 C's. That is the type of file that you would normally deliver those captions in, or you can deliver them in metadata alongside the video. Seems like from what I've gathered, looking at like different things I could find online about it, seems like that it's both in many cases, that they want it as metadata in the actual video file itself, and then also at the exact same time they wanted an SCC file as like a backup or something. But the SCC file and all of this supports a bunch of things. So I could say, for example, I could put the text at the top of the screen, and I actually give YouTube an SCC file for captions on videos like this. So you'll notice that right now my captions are up here, for example. Now they're down here, now they're over here, and now they're over here. As you can see, the fact that I can move them can come in handy, because if there's graphics at the bottom of the screen, regulation, at least in the US, states that you are required to move the graphic to the top of the screen, not the graphic, but the caption, to not obscure the graphic at the bottom of the screen. And so by definition, that basically means that you realistically need the ability to move them. Now, some caption formats don't support that. Some do. SCCC would support that. So long story short of the matter is that this is kind of the basics of captioning, and that's the idea. But why do I bring this all up? Well, it's because I plan on captioning my videos in the future. I've already captioned some of them in the back catalog. I'm working on trying to do that. I want to have good accessibility for people in the future watching my programming, because it's amazing just how many people in this country would want to actually watch the program with captions. I mean, I've looked at my own YouTube statistics for my channels, and there's people that have been watching the auto-generated captions, even though those aren't that good. And so it tells me there's definitely a demand, at least in my audience, for captions. And I'd say there probably is in general. So my goal is to be able to create captions. Right now I'm using Rev.ai, not a sponsor or anything, to generate textual output of the captions. I give it sound of the final video, and then it gives me back captions with timing, and then I import that into a program from GBH Boston. The point of the matter is I import it into that, and then I can go in and edit it and set the timing, and then it gives me an SCC file for output, which I use to put into my own streaming service. I'm working on captions for that too, and it also will support that. Now, on the web, it doesn't really live as SCCC permanently, but I can give it to YouTube as that, and then my systems, I give it that file for my streaming service I'm working on, and then what will happen is it will turn that into a VTT file, a web VTT file. And here's a quick little bit of pre-promotion for Open Source Tonight. If you check the description, there's going to be a link to a video that comes out on Tuesday about that very topic. And I think it's pretty interesting stuff. The VTT spec, because the Web VTT spec, or VTT, really it's Web VTT, but anyway, that spec is, I think, really interesting because it allows you to do a lot of the same things that you can do, say, over the air with CIA-708, for example, and the older spec, which is 608, right? Well, we can do basically the same things for the most part in the web now. We can do that with MPEG-Dash. We can do that with HLS. We can do that as just pure HTML5 playback without any of those manifests and such around it, and streaming technologies. And so in my case, my streaming service is going to use MPEG-Dash, the VP9 video codec, which is open source, and the open source audio codec Opus. And we're going to be using the open standard VTT or Web VTT for our caption playback. Anyway, everybody, I hope you all enjoyed today's video. And let me know in the comments if you have any questions about this stuff. And yeah, I think it'd be great to get your input on this. And yeah, I'll also put a link in the description to the WGBH, or I should say GBH these days because they changed their name, is that I'll put a link to it and you can all check it out. And it's pretty cool. It works in a web browser and you can caption your own content pretty easily. Everybody, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you all again very soon. Goodbye, everybody.
And action.